Hey, it's Easy here. So the NBA season started, so I wanted to go over the slate of games that I've watched and kind of give my critique on them. So Knicks and Celtics. Um, Pretty good game. Boston, obviously, their team has the ability to shoot the three ball. I hated the fact that they missed their last 13, I believe, and they couldn't make one to break the record. I don't know who has the record. I think, am I tripping? But I think it might be Boston or Philly or one of those teams, I believe. Anyway, the Knicks, Mikal Bridges. So his jump shot, right? The jump shots that he made, it was almost as if he resorted back to his old shooting form. And then the jump shots that he missed, it was like the new like Kyle Anderson hitch jumper that he has. So I think he's slowly realizing that he kind of made a mistake on trying to change his jump shot. But when you tweak your jump shot as a hooper, you have to kind of like delusional, like you kind of have to be delusional and believe that you're gonna make the shot, and you have to take the shots that you used to take with your old jump shot mechanics. So I think he's going through that phase right now, but I feel like he's at the same time he has to go back to his normal mechanics so he could be able to make the shot. He went 2 of 6 from 3, which was kind of surprising, but he missed his first 4. And obviously in preseason, I believe he was 2 of 19 from 3, which is 11%. So we'll keep track of how Mikal Bridges is doing. Karl Anthony Towns, we would have liked him to take more shots. I believe he shot 6 of 9, only had 12 points. So yeah, you need more from him. Brunson, he had an alright game, Jalen Brunson type thing. Anunoby, you could add a little bit more from him. Hart, I'm pretty sure you could add a little bit more, but their main job on the Knicks is to play defense. So yeah, and that's my spiel. Not too much on Boston. They just did what they had to do, and they got the win. Lakers, Minnesota. Now, JJ Redick, I believed he was going to be a good coach, but that night he actually showed that he's a pretty competent NBA coach. The offense looks a lot smoother. They pass a lot. He wants them to take a lot of threes, which I like. Now, even though they didn't make them last night, I think as the season progresses on, they'll start falling more. And I just like the way that the Lakers offense looked. It just wasn't Braun and AD pick and roll. D'Lo here and there, Reeves here and there, and then everyone else just chip in. It's almost like as if whoever had the best shot takes the shot. And, that's pretty good NBA offense. The Timberwolves now. And he's going to have to, backpack a little bit from what it looks like. The Randall fit, I knew it's a bad fit in my opinion because Randall is an ISO player. He's a left-handed Carmelo Anthony. He loves his, isolation shots. So I already know it was going to be a bad fit. And, we'll see this season if Randall's willing to, just sit on the 3-point line and, just wait for his turn to take shots or take over the game or whatever. But, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle play styles are going to clash. So, we'll see how that goes. But from what the looks of it, they really don't mesh well together. Everything else for Minnesota, looked pretty decent. You got a little bit out of Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Rudy Gobert just did Rudy Gobert things. He got dunked on, I believe, twice. But, that's what you get for being Rudy Gobert. And, pretty good game by the Lakers. And, we'll see how the rest of the season goes for them. The next game, so my favorite team's the Toronto Raptors, so I watched a little bit of the Raptors-Cleveland game. Cleveland, I like that they went to Evan Mobley, Evan Mobley, I believe, was the lead scorer tonight. And you know, in order for Cleveland to make that jump to like contender, because you look at their team, they're a pretty stacked team, but in order to make that jump to the contender, Evan Mobley's gonna have to be like a 20+ point per game dude at least. So, you know, I like tonight how he was aggressive. You know, he took a lot of shots. And then everyone else kind of got involved once Evan Mobley got going. You know, Jarrett Allen, I think he had a little run in the second quarter. Donovan Mitchell, I think Garland went out with like 3 fouls or whatever, so he took over in the second quarter as well. So, yeah, everything in Cleveland just banks on Evan Mobley's aggressiveness, in my opinion. The Raptors, you know, I'm expecting it to be alright season. Scotty Barnes, he played pretty bad tonight. I liked what I seen out of Grady Dick. I didn't really watch a lot of Grady Dick last year, so I wasn't really familiar with his game, but, you know, there's a lot of good stuff in his game. You know, he could shoot the three, he could take it off the dribble a little bit, so, you know, I like it. He's probably not going to start because R.J. Barrett's eventually going to be in the lineup, so, but I think he could be a pretty quality player on the Toronto team. Jakob Poeltl, you know, he's solid. He's not as... See, when they traded for Jakob, you know, you thought you were getting this defensive big that could grab a lot of boards on offensive and defensive end. But, you know, it kind of, in my opinion, he kind of regressed. He's not as effective as he used to be. But, you know, it is what it is. He's just like a toned-down version of Zubac, in my opinion, with maybe like a little bit more touch. But, yeah, that's kind of my spiel on the Raptors. You know, nothing too exciting to talk about. The next game we're going to talk about. Magic and Heat. Now, I didn't really watch much of this game, but from what I could tell, well, obviously it was a blowout. Bam and Jimmy, they didn't show up tonight. The rest of the Heat players basically played pretty well, but, you know, it's kind of the same story for Miami. They didn't do anything in the offseason. Then they have mid-offense or a pretty bad offense, according to modern standards. And then somehow, some way, when the playoffs come, they bank on Jimmy Butler to yank them out a playoff series and, you know, just go superhuman and ballistic. But Jimmy's getting up there in age, obviously, so it might not start working or being as effective as it used to be in years past. Orlando, you know, they kind of just did what they did last year. Paolo had 33 tonight, I believe. You know, he looked pretty aggressive out there. Franz Wagner, you know, he looked pretty nice out there. And yeah, Orlando, you know, has looked pretty solid. Same defensive unit that they had. KCP, you know, he didn't show up offensively tonight, but still gave them solid minutes out there, here and there. And yeah, it's a spiel about that game. The last game I'm going to talk about, Suns and Clippers. So the Clippers, I love this Clippers team. I kind of became the Clippers are probably one of my favorite teams to watch because, well, obviously Kawhi went there. I was a Raptors fan, so I'm a root for Kawhi regardless. But also, you know, actually, yeah. So Kawhi, Paul George, when they teamed up, I kind of started watching Clippers basketball. And for the years since then, you know, they had pretty good teams. Just kind of like didn't have great shelf lives. But, you know, this Clippers team, what I like about it is that they have a lot of good defensive role players. And tonight, they really played with a lot of urge and hustle. And, you know, I kind of like that as a fan. And James Harden, you know, 29, 12, and 8. That's Houston James Harden. He didn't shoot the ball too well in the first half, but in the second half, when they needed him the most, he got it going. He missed that free throw that I think would have, I think it would have tied the game, I believe. And, you know, they kind of spiraled out from there. But he played 40 minutes, and it's the first game back, so you gotta cut the guy some slack. But yeah, I remember the commentator during the game. He said this dumb comment. He was like, "Well, Harden's 2 of 11. Is this what the Clippers need in order to win?" Well, obviously not. Like they need him to score the ball and be efficient. So yeah, commentary's kind of mid nowadays. But yeah, if James Harden can somewhat be 70, I believe he can. But if he could be 70% of what he was in Houston for this year, until maybe Kawhi comes back, because we don't know when Kawhi's coming back. I think the Clippers, they're around that 7 to play in range. So if they could just teeter around 500 maybe, you might catch them in the playoffs perhaps. And then if somehow Kawhi becomes healthy, then, we'll see what happens from there. It's a very unlikely situation, but we've seen Harden in a situation where he had just a bunch of role players around him that are decent three-point shooters and could defend. And, he took them places in Houston. So, we'll see with that. But, yeah, that's basically all the NBA games I've watched so far. That's my spiel about those teams. I'm probably not going to do one for every team because I don't watch the Pistons, obviously. Or some teams I just don't watch. So, yeah. See y'all next time.